This is a Hot Pie Original.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Inhumane podcast, a Hot Pie Media Original. And we are here on episode 9. I've been wanting to talk about for so long, and it is the pimp daddy of them all, Pornhub. That's what we're going to talk about for 2 episodes. So let's dive in. So what you call love was invented by a guy like me to sell nylons. Super famous quote on a really great show. It was by Don Draper of Mad Men. So I'm going to repeat that. What you call love was invented by guys like me to sell nylons. So think about that for a second, right? It's just about selling. They're trying to sell you love. They're trying to sell you whatever it is to buy something. And then in addition to that, another quote was advertisement is based on one thing, happiness. And do you know what happiness is? Happiness is the smell of a new car. It's freedom from fear. It's a billboard on the side of the road that screams with reassurance that whatever you're doing is okay. You're okay. Don Draper of Mad Men. Now, if you don't know what show I'm talking about, it was a really big hit. It went on for many, many seasons. I really enjoyed the marketing aspect of it. It was just genius. It really showed how this man's great mind worked to sell advertisement, to basically sell products, right? Like major companies back in the 60s. And I think it even went into the 70s. Unfortunately, I stopped watching it. I didn't like all of the sexual parts in the show that I thought were really unnecessary, but I loved the women's liberation of it and really showed women in the workplace moving from secretaries to admin. So it was a really, really great show regarding marketing. And on the flip side, H.G. Wells stated, advertisement is legalized lying. And considering that one of my undergraduate degrees is in marketing, I could completely attest to this statement. They lie for profit, right? That's all they do. They just want you to buy their product. Advertisement is literally all about money. And now you have everybody joining that party, right? You have celebrities and musicians, rappers, like everybody wants to sell something because then they receive something for it. Our social media has totally changed advertisement. All of the influencers, like I know we've come to this place that we rather trust an influencer than like an actual doctor. And that's a kind of a scary place to be in because they're doing it for profit, right? I'm not trying to hinder anyone's business and how they make money or anything along those lines. But I do believe sometimes we sell our soul when we're getting paid for it, right? When we're getting paid to say that this item works or that item works. And it just puts everyone in a really, really tough spot because advertisement, if it's all about money, they really continue to lie to us, right? As consumers. And in reality, it's kind of our fault. So we live in this new world where content information is literally at our fingertips, right? It's right here. I could look up anything to get this information. So I don't think we should just be conscious of it, but we should take action, right? Like they work for us. If we don't buy their products or their services, then that company is going to fail, plain and simple. So I kind of implore you to let's stop telling these companies that what they're doing is wrong and that their advertisement is okay. Like, let's do more than just that, right? And in particular, I think we need to stop believing the lie that, or maybe it's not necessarily lie, sex does sell for sure. Or that's why they all do it. That's why when you're watching a movie and they put that part, a sexual part in the movie, you're like, what was the purpose of that? Like, I'm not seeing the connection in the plot, right? It's just sex sells and it's literally everywhere. So I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It does. But what can we do for them to stop imposing that on us all the time, right? Like everywhere. Everywhere you look, it's sex, it's sex, 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 sex. And I'm just like utterly just kind of tired of it. Yeah, I'm really, really tired of it. And I'm not saying that, sex is wrong or anything along those lines. It's just that it's so overwhelming and it's so overdone. And these companies, they really partake in it and they think that it's just targeted to adults. And we know that that's further from the truth, right? So they're just not selling to adults. And so I guess my question to you, the listeners, and really to society is, if marketing is so powerful, right? It changes everything about us, what we buy, how we buy. Like there's so much research and how they utilize brain science, cognitive behavior of why people buy what they buy, when they buy it, where they buy it, how much will they spend? Like there's so much research spent on that. So my question is, if marketing is so powerful, how does one fight, right? A company that sells children? Yeah, I bet you didn't know that question was coming. And you should be taken aback by my question, right? How, as consumers, how do we stop a conglomerate from existing, from profiting? They're profiting on videos, right, of sex trafficking, rape, incapacitated sexual assault. So that's like if they're drunk or drugged, right? How do we hold a company accountable for these videos that have revenge porn, that have child rape and sexual assault, that have spy cams, and all of this? What do all those have in common? That means they're not consensual, right? It's not consent. And a child cannot give you consent to do anything with them. So how does our buying power, right, crush a titan who profits off of sexual images and videos without consent? And you're going to hear me say that constantly, right? Without consent, because it's 100% without consent. And like, did we not learn anything from the beginning of the Me Too movement? I know a lot of these movements, people are on board and they supported them, but then the direction they veered into, a lot of individuals are like, I kind of can't support that. You're going way over here for whatever reason. And so did we not learn anything? Because women were really upset that things were happening, right? That we can love on celebrities and musicians and everything like that, and to figure out that they're doing things that are totally inhumane. So are we kind of like that fickle as humans that we just, that was trending. Hashtag Me Too is trending. And now I'm kind of over it and I'm moving on to something else that I got distracted by, that an influencer, celebrity, or musician kind of distracted me, or just life, right? We totally get distracted with life. It's totally fair. Does their well-being mean absolutely nothing to anybody? And it's really hard for me, to swallow that. And to be honest with you, if you supported like BLM or Blue Lives or whatever lives that you supported in the past couple of years, because it was so controversial and it still is, and if you're supporting that, then you should 100% support shutting down Pornhub. Plain and simple, because they don't care who you are, right? The color of your skin makes no difference to them. They do not see you as a human. Whether you rank here because of the color of your skin or you rank there, right? It's really, they don't care. So where are you on wanting to shut down Pornhub and anyone else who really follows in their footsteps, right? Because they are really committing crimes against humanity. So in 2019, Pornhub had 42 billion visits. 42 billion visits that year. Like, that's astronomical. And they had 115 million hits a day, 115 million hits a day, and 6.8 million videos uploaded. Okay, 6.8 million videos uploaded. Now, I bet you're asking, what is Pornhub? So Pornhub is the number one site for pornography. Okay. And I know people are already saying, oh, well, those are adults, so on and so forth. Let them be. Okay. Now, Pornhub has used the idea that like sex is freedom, right? It's creative, it's erotic, it's artsy. And I do believe the feminine movement kind of jumps on board with that, on that bandwagon. And it's saying, hey, you know, don't be such a prude. You know, again, I can't claim it as anything else but sex is freedom. And so many of us want that freedom, right? And I think, especially if you live in the United States, you're used to freedom. You're born with freedom. So why would anybody want to, right, crush that or put that down in any way, shape, or form? Now, sex porn is freedom and it's attractive. And so I think people think like there's nothing wrong with exploiting that, because we're freely kind of giving that up. So much so that Pornhub, it was a few years ago, but they actually had pop-up shops in New York City. And it was really all about this creativeness, about this new renaissance of, right, of sex and be creative and be free and don't let anyone take that. You be you. And they really were trying to test the waters and see if they could actually have like this retail shop, because they're just knocking it out of the water when it comes to streaming online. And the United States is actually the number one consumer of porn, number one consumer. So those of you who maybe, you know, want to debate, because this is like such a debatable, right, conversation. People are constantly saying, hey, you know, we're adults, we can do whatever we want. And I'm not saying that sex is bad. And I'll tell you, it took me a long time to say the word sex like in public. It took me a long time to say it in conversation, because to me, it was just very inappropriate. That's something private you do, you know, at home, the end, right? But as I became to fight against human trafficking, I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and saying the word sex, right? Because I think we have these different ideas of what it is. And I'm totally fine with debating with people. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not saying that you should be like ashamed at all whatsoever. Sex is a beautiful thing. It really is. And it should be a beautiful thing. What I'm saying is that society has really made Pornhub this monstrous company. Okay. This monstrous company that violates you just being a human. Plain and simple. And if that is happening, that company should be shut down. And every single one that tries to follow, right? Because when you try to attack a big shark, right, then all the other little sharks want to come and then they want to be the big one. And they're trying to find all these loopholes. So this gigantic company, Pornhub, violates human rights. It violates you being a human. It has so many criminal aspects to it. And, you know, to be honest with you, animals get way better treatment than the children, boys and girls, and the women, it's predominantly women on this site, but they're also men. They get better treatment than animals. And I gladly thank the PETA organization for that. Like, The PETA organization, talk about a non-fickle company or organization, forgive me. And the individuals who believe in animal rights, they have conviction. When they know a company is testing on animals, it is across the board. I will not use it. They don't say, oh, well, I'm on vacation. This is what I can buy. I'm going to buy this instead. No one will know. Nope. Every PETA person that I have talked to, and I've been not officially part of PETA, but have gone to events they've had, spoken, had friends, things of that nature, since I was in the 7th grade. So those individuals stay true to their conviction. And I don't know how we can't do that when it comes to human trafficking. I don't know how we can't do that when it comes to Pornhub, and seeing all the violations that they are creating. Okay. Or it's just all on their site. Like, this is a company that constantly lies and manipulates us to think that everything on their site is consensual. And that they're not aware of it, right? If something does pop up. So if they're not aware of it, then they're kind of like washing their hands and saying, well, I mean, I wasn't aware. So that means there's no wrongdoing, right, on my end. And I'm just going to call straight up BS on that. You cannot tell me that you are a tech company, because that's what they are. Porn is the content, but they are a tech conglomerate. You can't tell me that they don't know what's going on within, right, the 4 walls of their server, for lack of a better term. Now, let's give you a little bit more info about Pornhub. So Pornhub and its affiliates, okay, they're user-generated content. So what does that mean? That means that they don't do all the creation. 80% of it comes from user uploads. So anybody with a camera phone, okay, the least amount of work, let's just go with the least amount of work. Anyone with a camera phone can whip that out, take a pic or a video of any sexual act that's going on, and upload it to Pornhub. It is 100% anonymous. You have no idea who's posting it. They have no verification of this was consensual or not. None. Zero. I mean, gosh, just to be a guest on a show, on the Inhumane show, you got to sign, right? Consent that I'm going to be used for videos or, pictures or anything along those lines. When you pay for a conference or a lot of times shows, if you look at the fine print at the bottom of your ticket, it will say, hey, by purchasing this ticket, you're giving consent, blah, 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 so on and so forth. There is none of that with any of the videos that are uploaded. 80% of it comes from anonymous uploaders. You can't tell me that's a problem. Already a red flag. Huge, huge red flag. So they're unverified. And where's the consent of the children? Where are the consent of the parents of those children whose videos are on Pornhub? Because there are thousands, absolutely thousands of them. Now, Pornhub is owned by MindGeek. MindGeek is this Canadian company. Okay, so makes it a little tricky sometimes, right? When the US is the number one consumer, but the actual company is in Canada. Makes it a little tricky. They're a titan, an absolute titan in this industry, in the porn industry. But they also have a monopoly on porn. So I want to be clear, and I want people to understand what that means. So if we take down Pornhub, right, because that's my mission. It's been my mission for quite some time. A lot of other people as well in the anti-human trafficking space. And we need to get this out, right, to the community. So it's our mission to take down Pornhub. However, you as a consumer, and if you consume porn in any way, shape, or form, or know people that do so, it's not just Pornhub. They have over 100 affiliates. They're like the umbrella company. And then you got all these other sites, right? And so that's how they fool us. That's how they continue to fool society. And they're like, oh, well, that's just Pornhub, but here's all these others, right? So I'm going to just name a few so that you're aware. And I highly recommend that you don't look these up because I have no idea what it's going to do to your computer. Because I put in certain search words where it's for academia when it comes to porn. So nothing happens on my computer. And I have some pretty high security on here as well and firewalls. So I don't know yours. So please don't look these up because I have and definitely don't look them up at work at all whatsoever. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. But just some of the other like porn sites is RedTube, GayTube, Porn IQ, and then they actually own movie studios, porn movie studios, like Reality Kings, My Dirty Hobby, Dot Webcam. And then they manage sites like lesbia.com, Playboy, and Wicked. So I'm just giving you a few because those are really popular. And when we look at them, we kind of disassociate, think, oh no, those are separate. And in reality, that's why they're such a titan. They own all of these companies. They're just like little right, entities. So going back, right, advertisement in these companies, how they do it, how they market us, they just constantly hide and deceive, right, and lie all day long. It's that legalized lying, right? All day long is what they do. Now, Pornhub is the 10th most visited site globally. That is a beast. And I don't mean in a good way, right? Like I think of Tesla, right? So Tesla, they've broken ground here in Austin, Texas, and then they're going to create like this, they're trying to revamp down in Brownsville, Texas as well. Like that's a monster. That's a beast, but in a very positive way. Okay. So when I say beast to Pornhub, I'm not giving them any accolades at all whatsoever. It's a beast that needs to be, you can't even tame them. Like it has to be completely shut down. And anyone who tries to come up like them has to be crushed immediately as well. Like I have no qualms in saying that because of the detriment of what they're doing to human lives without consent. I'm going to keep hammering on that. So they make millions of dollars, right, a year, like, and they're $1 billion company. And they do that with these non-consensual sexual images and videos by premium subscriptions. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, porn's free. Well, they make their money. That's kind of how they lure you in, right? Just like any other app you get on, you get this little free part and you like it. And then boom, they got you and it's $5.99 or $2.99. So it's the same thing. So it's premium subscriptions. They get their money off of advertisements. So you got all these companies that are advertising on Pornhub. And I'm going to pause right there for a minute. I really want you to think about that. If it was any other industry, if it was, let's just say it was a clothing company, right? And they were the 10th most visited site in all of the world. Do you think they have to beg for advertisers? Or do you think that these advertisers come running and beg to be on, on their website or wherever else? Yeah, it's the latter. Okay, so these are probably companies, and we're going to have a totally other episode dedicated just to this, that you and I consume more than likely. And what are they doing about it, right? Like they're okay with these non-consensual videos being put up and held there. That's basically like holding someone hostage, in my opinion. But we're okay with shopping with these companies, right? We're okay with that. When are we going to stand up for those individuals that have no voice, right? I think that's my biggest heartache that I have when it comes to Pornhub and when I have this conversation with people. Yes, it infuriates me, absolutely. But it's like they have no voice because they're a titan, because they're a monopoly. So that means this 14-year-old or 16-year-old has no voice and their image just keeps being shown over and over and over again, right? Now, so let me go back to how they make money, right? So it's subscriptions, premium subscriptions, it's advertisements, it's selling user data, because who doesn't nowadays, right? So it sells your user data. And then there's a direct sell of actual videos on their site. Okay. So that's 4 right there. But that's not all they do. They actually have 6 core areas of criminal content. 6 areas of criminal content. That's sexual abuse. So there's videos of sexual abuse. And I'm not talking one video, one of, what did I say? There's 6.8 million videos that were posted in 2019. So I'm not talking 1 or 10 or 15 or even 100, because I know I'm going to get backlash and people are going to say, oh, well, I mean, if you look at the percentage, that's nothing, right? Out of 6.8 million. No, this isn't just a runoff, a one time or a handful of times or a very small percentage. It makes up a good portion of their content. So you have, what I say? So you have sexual abuse, right? You have child sexual abuse. You have rape videos. You have actual sex trafficking, proven sex trafficking on their sites. You have drugged or, drunk individuals, mainly women, that are, their videos are up for these sex acts. You have revenge porn, and you have those hidden spy cams. All of that is criminal. 6 areas, criminal. Yet we still want to partake, right? Still want to partake in it. Okay, so we're going to dig really, really deep, okay? And I want to push pause real quick. I just want to push pause, and there needs to really be an episode 2 before I give you the rest of this, okay? Because this really is, Pornhub is really the pimp daddy of them all. And I don't say that to give them like street cred. I don't say that to use the word lightly. That's just factual. They are a digital pimp. And they are probably the world's biggest pimp. And to me, well, I don't want to get in trouble, so I may not say that one, but I don't see the difference between organized crime, right, and digitally. If it's happening digitally, I'm not seeing the difference at all whatsoever. So we're going to take a break. I really want you to come back for episode 2, but before you do that, please, take care of yourself mentally. Take a walk, listen to music, go garden, go kick something or hit something, preferably like a boxing bag, not anything else that would hurt. But take care of your mind, because this should really make you mad that this is happening. This should make you mad that it's lying. They're lying to society. This should infuriate you that there are crimes against humanity, and it should stir something inside of you, right? Because this could be your sister. This could be your brother. This could be your child. This could be anybody that you know, and nobody's standing up for them, right? So take a break, and can't wait to see you come back for episode 2.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.